Welcome back to our journey through the Bible. Have you ever felt like your family was a little complicated? Well, let me tell you a story that takes family drama to a whole new level. A story of jealousy, betrayal, and incredible forgiveness. It's the story of Joseph and his brothers. Tale that shows how even the worst intentions can be turned into something amazing. It all starts with a father named Jacob, who had 12 sons. But he had a clear favorite, Joseph. To show his love, Jacob gave Joseph a stunning, multicolored coat. It was beautiful, but to his 11 older brothers, it was a symbol of everything they resented. This wasn't just sibling rivalry. It was a deep, simmering jealousy. And Joseph, being young and maybe a bit naive, didn't help things. He started having these dreams where his brothers, and even his parents, were bowing down to him. When he shared these dreams, their jealousy boiled over into pure hatred. One day, the brothers were out in the fields, far from their father's watchful eyes. They saw Joseph approaching in the distance, wearing that infamous coat. This was their chance. Their first thought was brutal, to kill him. But one brother, Reuben, suggested a less permanent solution. Just throw him into a dry well. While they were debating, a caravan of merchants heading to Egypt passed by. Judah, another brother, had an idea. Why kill him? Let's sell him as a slave instead. For 20 pieces of silver, they sold their own brother into slavery. To cover their tracks, they took Joseph's beautiful coat, tore it, dipped it in the blood of a goat, and brought it back to their father, Jacob. They told him a vicious lie. We found this. See if it's your son's coat. Jacob, heartbroken, concluded that a wild animal had devoured his beloved son. His grief was immense, a wound that would fester for years. Meanwhile, in Egypt, Joseph's life was a roller coaster. He was sold to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's high officials. Thanks to his integrity and God's favor, Joseph quickly rose through the ranks, becoming the head of Potiphar's household. Everything he touched prospered, but his good fortune was short-lived. Potiphar's wife tried to seduce him, and when he refused, she falsely accused him. Without a fair trial, Joseph was thrown into prison. It seemed like the end of the road, from favorite son to a forgotten prisoner in a foreign land. But even in the darkness of the dungeon, Joseph's character shone. He soon found favor with the prison warden and was put in charge of the other prisoners. It was here that he interpreted the dreams of 2 of Pharaoh's former servants, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker. He told the cupbearer he would be restored to his position, and the baker that he would be executed. And it happened exactly as he said. Joseph's only request to the cupbearer was, "Remember me when you get out." But once freed, the cupbearer forgot all about the young Hebrew man in prison. 2 more years passed. Joseph was now 30 years old, having spent 13 years as a slave and a prisoner. Then Pharaoh himself started having disturbing dreams. Dreams of 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 skinny cows, and 7 healthy heads of grain being devoured by 7 withered ones. None of his magicians or wise men could figure them out. That's when the cupbearer finally remembered. "I remember my faults today," he said, and told Pharaoh about the man in prison who could interpret dreams. Joseph was rushed from the dungeon, cleaned up, and brought before the most powerful man in the world. Pharaoh told him the dreams, and Joseph, giving all credit to God, explained their meaning. "The dreams are one and the same," he said. "God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do." There will be 7 years of incredible abundance throughout Egypt, followed by 7 years of devastating famine. The famine will be so severe that the years of plenty will be completely forgotten. But Joseph didn't stop there. He offered a solution. Appoint a wise and discerning man to oversee the land. During the 7 good years, they should collect 1/5 of the harvest and store it in cities across Egypt. This grain would be a reserve for the 7 years of famine. Pharaoh was so impressed by Joseph's wisdom that he said, "Can we find anyone like this man, one in whom is the Spirit of God?" He looked at Joseph and declared, "Since God has made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you." Just like that, the slave, the prisoner, became the second most powerful man in Egypt. He was given Pharaoh's signet ring, fine linen clothes, and a gold chain. He rode in a chariot, second only to Pharaoh's. Joseph spent the next 7 years traveling throughout Egypt, organizing the collection and storage of massive amounts of grain. The abundance was so great they couldn't even keep track of it all. Then, as predicted, the famine hit. And it wasn't just in Egypt. It spread across the entire region. But Egypt had food. People from all over the world started coming to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph. And who should appear among them? Joseph's 10 older brothers. They had traveled from their starving homeland, sent by their father Jacob to buy food. They came before the great Egyptian governor and bowed down low, their faces to the ground. The dream from all those years ago had come true. They had no idea who this powerful man was, but Joseph recognized them immediately. Instead of revealing himself, he decided to test them. He spoke harshly, accusing them of being spies. To prove their innocence, they told him all about their family back home, their old father and their youngest brother Benjamin, who had stayed behind. Joseph demanded they bring Benjamin to him to prove their story, keeping one brother, Simeon, as a hostage. The brothers returned home, distraught. When they told their father Jacob what had happened, he was horrified at the thought of losing another son, Benjamin, the only other son of his beloved wife Rachel. But as the famine worsened, they had no choice. Judah, the very brother who suggested selling Joseph, stepped forward and personally guaranteed Benjamin's safety, saying, "Send the boy with me. I will be responsible for him. If I do not bring him back to you, let the blame be on me forever." So they returned to Egypt, Benjamin with them. When Joseph saw his youngest brother, he was overcome with emotion and had to leave the room to weep. He hosted a meal for them, giving Benjamin 5 times the portion of anyone else, another test of their jealousy. They didn't seem to notice or care. The final test was the most severe. As they prepared to leave, Joseph had his personal silver cup secretly placed in Benjamin's sack of grain. Shortly after they left the city, he sent his steward after them to discover the theft. When the cup was found in Benjamin's sack, the brothers were devastated. They tore their clothes and returned to the city, falling at Joseph's feet. Joseph declared that Benjamin must stay and become his slave. This was the moment of truth. Would they abandon another brother to save themselves, just as they had done 20 years earlier? But something had changed in them. Judah stepped forward and gave one of the most moving speeches in all of literature. He described his father's unbearable grief and how losing Benjamin would kill him. Then he said the words that changed everything. "Now then, please let your servant remain here as my lord's slave in place of the boy." and let the boy return with his brothers. The man who had once sold a brother into slavery was now offering himself as a slave to save another. That was all Joseph needed to see. He ordered everyone out of the room except his brothers. And then, weeping so loudly that the entire palace could hear, he said, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" His brothers were too stunned to speak. "Come closer," he said. "I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now, do not be distressed, and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you." He explained how God had used their evil act for an ultimate good to save countless people, including their own family, from starvation. He wasn't bitter or vengeful. He saw God's hand in everything that had happened. The news reached Pharaoh, who was delighted. He insisted that Joseph's entire family move to Egypt, offering them the best land. So, Jacob and his whole household, 70 people, in total made the journey. The reunion between Jacob and his long-lost son was one of pure joy. The family that began with a promise to Abraham was now safe, growing in a foreign land, preserved through one of the most incredible stories of forgiveness and divine providence ever told. It's a powerful reminder that even when things look their absolute worst, there might be a bigger plan at work, a plan to bring good out of unimaginable hardship. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as powerful as I do, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. See you next time. Please like and subscribe.